¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
From the world's worst takes collection. Steve Bannon wants kids to use guns to defend themselves from bullies. Jesus. Yeah. No. That's ludicrous. All right, folks, we got a lot of things to go through, so let's get this started.
I said that it was globes everywhere. There's propaganda, but it's the truth. And you know how many people who don't believe in flat Earth, they believe that we're, in a solar system. They reach out to me. They're like, Candace, you know what? You're right. I have been looking in stores and there are globes everywhere. Like there are globe toys and there's globes in the decorations. And you said that on your show and people thought you were crazy, but it's true. Why are they pushing the globes? And I said, well, I think it's because of NASA wanting to spend billions of dollars a month, but they try to say that I'm crazy because I said that, and they still go on my social media and my comments and they say, are you seeing globes everywhere, Candace? Are you seeing globes? I'm like, yeah, I am.
Yeah. Phenomenal stuff. Globes everywhere. I'm even standing on one. Cosmic Deacon, how's it going?
You just listened to a rant from Republican lunatic Dr. Candace Taylor, who's responding to criticism she received.
Dr. Candace Taylor, yeah. Alia with the 11 biddies, thank you.
After she essentially came out as a flat earther on her podcast earlier this year during an interview that she had with someone named Flat Earth Dave. Now, Candace Taylor has become my new favorite lol cow, so I would encourage you to watch my other videos of her if you haven't seen them, but for those of you who missed it, this is her breakout rant about her dumbass globe conspiracy theory.
Is it or not? I don't know 100%, but it's just, it doesn't make sense the other way. Now that you see it.
The people that defend the globe don't know anything about the globe, because if they knew a tenth of what Matt and I know about the globe, they would be flat earthers, because it's absolutely ridiculous.
I can't unsee this. All the globes everywhere. I turn on TV, there's globes in the background. There's globes on there right here. Like this would be a globe if I was a normal person. Like everywhere there's globes. You see them all the time. I mean, it's constant. My children will be like, Mama, globe, 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 globe. They're everywhere. And that's what they do to brainwash. And so for me, if it is not a conspiracy, if it is, real, why are you pushing so hard? Everywhere I go, every store, you buy a globe.
Sadly, this is where the true left-right horseshoe happens. Flat Earth and crystal healing. Oh, man. I mean, like... Man. To be fair, I have not seen a large amount of left-leaning people doing the whole flat earth thing. I mean, I have not met a left-leaning person who is a diehard flat earther. I mean, I guess that might exist. That does exist. I just have not come across it yet. God, I could have gone without knowing that this person exists. Same. My sentiment applies to multiple people in this video. Yeah, it's a flat earth podcast. I mean, literally the little thing says Jesus, guns, and something else. I can't see that. Yeah.
There's globes.
Just delusional stuff. Like, this is completely illogical. So, I was correct. Dukes of Hazzard is better to watch this doctor. Yeah, we can't play Dukes of Hazzard, though. Yeah, it's completely illogical to say, like, oh, there's models of Earth all over the place and they're all globes. Well, the reason why the models are the way they are is because they're modeling what we know scientifically, right? I mean, there's no real point in engaging in like the actual debate because there is no debate here. I don't know the politics of flat earthers. I mean, you never really get to you never really get to it, do you? You're sort of stuck on trying to comprehend the fact that they think the earth is flat. Yeah, I mean, like usually that's where I get off, right? Like that's where I get off. Like as soon as you say that you're a flat earther and you genuinely believe that the earth is flat, like, hey, listen, let me off, all right? Let me off this next stop over here because we're not having this conversation. Okay? There is no point. Like as soon as someone says like, I'm a flat earther, like, all right, yep, we can stop it right here. There's no point in continuing that conversation. You just live in a completely alternative plane of reality that I don't have the patience to deal with, or shouldn't have to deal with, to be honest.
Every movie, every TV show, news media, why?
Now, we finally get an answer to that $1 million question. They're pushing globes because NASA. And since we spend billions of dollars per month funding NASA, that's why they're doing it, I guess. Now, the problem with this theory is that NASA's annual budget isn't even half of what it was during the Apollo program, and it only makes up around 0.4% to 1% of our total budget because we've now just decided to outsource our space program to billionaires who build dick rockets. So her explanation doesn't make sense on its face, which is why people are still continuing to make fun of her, myself included, and it's why she's still coping and seething.
Every 3 months, our campaign.
By the way, Katie Porter has joined the ceasefire movement, so that's nice.
She went viral the first time. A lot of people pounced on her stupidity, including comedian Blair Erskine, and Candace Taylor saw the parody that she made about her, and she was not happy about this. So here's Blair's parody, followed by Candace Taylor's response.
I'm not a scientist because that is a made-up job, but I...
Oh, man. That's pretty freaking good, okay? That's pretty good.
know that the earth is flat, okay? Because if the earth was round, why would maps be flat? They can never answer that, okay? And people want to be like, well, oh, if the earth is flat, then what about night and day? I don't know. Let me think about it. Maybe because the earth is double-sided and God flips us over when it's time for us to go to bed and flips us back over when it's time for us to wake up, like I do with my husband. Like, use your brain. Use your head for a...
True. My Uber driver, we don't really know what happened in those COVID hospital rooms. They wouldn't let anyone in to see. Yep. Yeah, stop right there. Honestly, like that's actually pretty bad because like we do know, we actually do know what happened. Depending on the severity of the COVID infection, people were either dying or on like heavy life support. It was bad. I mean, till this day, we have what are the latest COVID numbers? Even now, we still have a lot of COVID cases. Like it hasn't gone away. Where's the fancy like Google thing? We're up to like 103 million confirmed cases. Over 103 million confirmed cases. 1.14 million deaths. So yeah, it's still a thing.
minute. If the earth was round like a globe everything would be falling off of it. All the oceans will be dripping down it like ice cream, okay? Unless the Earth is a DQ blizzard where nothing falls out. But even then, some
That's too funny. Whom are they? Yeah, they're whom. Exhibit 1 is this lady who they are parroting very well. She looks just like her and got her cadence and her accent pretty good. Hospital workers getting long-term trauma and PTSD is what was happening. That too.
sometimes things do fall out and they do have to give you your money back. So that doesn't really make sense to me. They're trying so hard to make us think the earth is a globe. I see globes on TV, globes at my children's school. I saw a globe at Hobby Lobby, a place of worship. Hobby Lobby, there was a globe there. I mean, if I were a normal person, there would be a globe behind me, but I have a rotary telephone that's not hooked up to anything, so Bill Gates can't track me.
I've never said the earth was flat. I've never...
What? Wow. Wow. Phenomenal stuff.
said that I was a flat earther. Never, ever, ever have I said that. I did not say that globes were fake. I never said that. What I said was that NASA taking billions of dollars every month of our taxpayer money and funding something that we do not see any progression in.
What are you talking about? Are you sure this is not just a parody? No, she's for real. She's a Republican. The lady that was just like 5 seconds ago was a parody of this lady. This one's for real. Yeah, cameras don't exist. We never have we ever, okay?
If the earth is a globe, which we've always believed the earth is a globe, and we believe that, why do we see globes on all the TV shows?
Because that's what it was modeled after. You know, the earth. Yeah, I mean, like, can you really tell the difference between the language and rhetoric of the comedian and her?
On all the movies and all the stores, why are there globes everywhere? Why?
Why? Because that's how it works. If the earth was truly flat and we had pictures and evidence to document this, and I guess like physics doesn't exist, I guess gravity doesn't exist the way we know it right now. I guess if none of those things exist and you live in some kind of like cartoon world, then like the models would be modeled after a flat earth. Also, a lot of stuff is just round. Yeah, it's about gravity forming planets. This lady needs to go back to kindergarten, true. At basketball, stop shoving your globe down my throat. What does she get out of this aside from us watching her stupid videos? I mean, maybe it is just attention. Or maybe, I don't know. Like, sometimes, like, these people are true believers. We live on an oblate sphere, actually not a globe. Close enough. It's round, okay? It's a sphere. We're not gonna play we're not gonna play semantics. It's close enough.
Because it's propaganda. It's propaganda.
Propaganda for what? If you truly believe that, if you are not a flat earther, as you literally just said like 5 seconds ago, then why do you think that, there's like some kind of propaganda scheme going on? Because you're contesting the fact that the earth is round or a sphere. So is she already an office holder or is she running for office? No, she's a Republican from Georgia. In fact, I can look it up. Candace Taylor. Oh, it's much better than that. It's much better than that. She's not in office. She is the the GOP, she's the Republican chair of Georgia's 1st congressional district. So she is the leader of the Republican Party in that district, in Georgia's 1st district. Only I can know the truth. Why am I the only one that knows it? True. If you take the distance from the center of our planet, Mount Everest is not the highest mountain. It's a mountain in the Andes. That's interesting. Yeah, she's making moves. That's right. She's literally the Republican chair of Georgia's 1st congressional district. Phenomenal stuff.
For us to be okay with NASA spending billions of dollars of our taxpayer money to fund whatever they want to fund. That does not mean that I'm crazy. That does
listen, she said it, not me, okay?
not mean that I'm unethical. That does not mean that anything
What? What are you talking about?
that a radical, liberal, psychotic girl in Atlanta who did a parody on me said. Because she did a parody and she said, oh, we can flip the earth upside down and have day and night. I would never have thought to say something so dumb. That is completely idiotic. She said that. Her, not me. And people that say, oh, this is you. No. Look at my lips.
Can we rewatch the clip of her saying all this stuff, like from the beginning? This one? What she is proving is what a cultist looks like. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much par for the course for the Republican Party.
She had on red lipstick, but she does not have a full front top lip, and I told her that. The red was a nice touch, but you don't have the lips for it.
Oh, you mean the parody? You mean the parody? I mean, the parody was pretty good.
Nothing like me, praise the Lord. And she writes skits for Saturday Night Live. She has a fake Southern accent. She's an Atlantean. She doesn't sound like me from South Georgia. And she's trying to. But
Oh, okay. You mean the right here from the beginning? Gotcha.
it's not me, people. It's her. It's Blair. Her name's Blair. I don't even know her last name.
So don't you dare mock her conspiracy theory, okay? She's not a flat earther, contrary to popular belief. She just thinks that globes are part of a propaganda conspiracy created by NASA to
She's just asking. She's just asking questions. Okay. She's not a flat Earth conspiracy theorist. She's just asking questions. Okay.
brainwash us into believing that the earth is a sphere. That's all. Okay? Nothing flat earthy about that, right? Now, even though she's definitely not a flat earther, no question about that. I think she's being honest when she says she's not. You might have noticed in the first clip that we watched, which is the most recent one, that she brought back Flat Earth Dave. And you might be wondering, well, if she's not a flat earther, why does she keep platforming flat earthers on her podcast, which, by the way, is titled Guns, Jesus, and Babies, or Jesus, Guns, and Babies, I think, either way.
What? That was the last word at the bottom of that, because I saw Jesus and guns. I couldn't see the third one. Okay. Wow. Not weird at all, by the way. Jeez. Yeah, she's not a flat earther. She just espouses the flat earth curious. Right. She's not a flat earther. She just espouses the same talking points, hangs out, and platforms flat earthers. And but no, she's not a flat earther.
But you might be wondering, like, why, if you're trying to get rid of this label, why would you keep bringing back Flat Earth Dave, of all people? And she actually addressed that in this episode.
So I have
Barbecue, beer, and freedom.
a show today. Y'all are going to be so impressed that I did this show. I did an interview again with this guy because I made the Rolling Stones twice. And then AJC multiple times. It went viral. You know, they've called me a flat earther. They've all this stuff.
No comma either, so it's technically Jesus Guns Babies. Jesus Christ.
Didn't want me to get elected to the GOP because they said I was crazy. But I will interview whoever I want to. This is America. So welcome to David Wiles back to my show. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you, Candace. And I want to say the Earth is not flat. It is a topographical level plane with hills and valleys and mountains and trenches. But
Wait. Wait. 1 second. One second. Let me get this straight. You said flat. You said flat. The Earth isn't flat. It's just a topographical plane. Yeah. Okay. It's a toppy thing, very complex. Very reasonable. Listen to these crocs. Reasonable people. Yeah, he's not even a flat earther. I'm a topographical plain and hills with mountains and valleys earther that are all on a plane. These things write themselves, right? Like, what else is there to parody from this, right? Like, it's harder to parody this, because all you can do is just reword what they said. That's the parody. You just kind of reword what they say. Yeah, we should just ask Atlas. Hey, yo, Atlas.
water tells us that the Earth is level.
Gee, I just can't imagine why anyone would think she's a flat earther.
Water is level. Ah, you mean, level like on a plane. That's flat. Okay. But you're not a flat earther.
Now, in case you were wondering, no, she didn't challenge his flat earth rhetoric. Shocking, I know. And it's because she is, wait for it, a motherfucking flat earther. She's a flat earther. You can say that you're not a flat earther, but if you keep doing flat earth things and saying flat earth things, I think that it's not uncharitable to put you in that camp. It's like the right-wing grifters who say, no, I'm actually a liberal or I'm more of a centrist when they say nothing but right-wing propaganda talking points and they exclusively attack the left. Think Tim Pool, think Jimmy Dore. So, yeah, I don't think that it's unreasonable to say she's a flat earther because she's a flat earther. But ultimately, if you cut to the core, this is her main belief.
Anytime we get this conversation brought up, some people are passionate about it being flat. They're passionate about it being a globe. But then there's other people, I think, like me and other people, which I believe in creation, 100%. I believe in the firmament. I believe in creation. I believe what the word says. But we are like, I don't really care either way. I believe in Jesus.
I love how she's trying so hard to fence it so she appears more reasonable, but still ends up looking insane by expressing support for creationism, which means that she believes that the earth is like 5,000 years old or 6,000 years old at most. I mean, there are layers here to the stupidity. Now, you might be wondering, Mike, there are literally millions of Republicans across the country with idiotic views.
Yeah. Doesn't change my life if Earth is flat. She has a point. No, she doesn't. Stop. We're not having this conversation. Challenging the globe with biblical truths right there on the screen. Is that what she put? Come on. Oh, did I go way too far?
Candace. And it's because she's not just any it's Jimmy Dore in belief.
Anytime we get this conversation,
I believe in flat Earth, but actually the shape of the Earth doesn't even matter. I don't know. I don't even know if that's what she said. Oh, it's the caption. Challenging the globe with challenging the globe with biblical truths. Does it change me life? Whatever, dude.
brought up, some people are passionate about it being flat. They're passionate about it being a globe. But then there's other people.
So the people who think that the Earth is flat are just wrong. They're objectively wrong, and there's no point in even entertaining this idea. I get my news from the Bible. Like, there's literally no point in entertaining the idea that the Earth is flat, right? Like, it's actually, I would say it's actually like detrimental to even have a conversation addressing that, because it's like, why are we addressing why are we even addressing these people who are completely divorced from reality? There isn't a debate here. There really isn't a debate to be had here. They're just wrong. They're objectively wrong. And that's the end of the story. There isn't like, oh, there's some passionate people on one side and some passionate people on the other. No, they're just wrong. They're just completely delusional. They're just completely delusional people. Truth is unattainable because it requires perspective, which implies separation, which is an illusion. Good theory is the best that we can do. Yeah, but like, we base these things on like facts that we can measure, right? Like, we call gravity a theory, but like, we can test these things and have there's a logos behind that, right? There especially isn't a debate because a flat Earth argument is based on vibes. True. Yeah, there's no actual like science behind it, although they may attempt to make it seem like it. Although they make it attempt to to play pseudoscience. Yeah, it's not. There's no actual like reality based on the flat Earth way of thinking. It's just objectively been proven incorrect. I agree. What appears to be the Earth appears to be round. Yes. Gravity is more of an observed phenomenon. General relativity is a prevailing theory of gravity. Gotcha. I seem to recall facts don't care about your feelings.
I think, like me and other people, which I believe in creation, 100%. I believe in a firmament. I believe in creation. I believe what the word says. But we're like, I don't really care either way. I believe in Jesus.
I love how she's trying so hard to fence it so she appears more real.
What does the Bible say about the shape of the Earth, okay? I need to know. Flat Earthers have repeatedly proven the Earth is round, actually. Yeah, they have. Their own experiments.
Reasonable, but still ends up looking insane by expressing support for creationism, which means that she believes that the Earth is like 5,000 years old or 6,000 years old at most. I mean, there are layers here to the stupidity. Now, you might be wondering...
I saw a flat earther perform an experiment that proved the curvature of the Earth and believed it. It was interesting. Yeah, and in fact, there's an instrument that like is a pillar of these people's beliefs, and I forget what that instrument is called to do that, to measure the curvature or to prove that the Earth has a curvature. And like every time it proves every time it proves that that the Earth does, there is a curvature to the Earth. They claim that the instrument is either not calibrated, or the instrument is broken, or they refuse to give him the refuse to give them their the proper instrument. Okay, the results are off. That's fine. Keep her the F away from politics. Unfortunately, the only reason we're even talking about this, Conscious Connect, the only reason why this is being brought up is because she's the Republican chair of Georgia's 1st congressional district. Yeah.
Wondering, Mike, there are literally millions of Republicans across the country with idiotic views. Why all the focus on Candace? And it's because she's not just any ordinary Republican. She is a GOP leader who is in a position.
Well, I should have let Mike finish, but yeah.
Of power and influence. Not only is she the chair of the Republican Party in Georgia's 1st congressional district, but she was a gubernatorial candidate in Georgia's 2022 election. Now, thankfully, she lost by more than 70 points and only got 3.4% of the vote. But despite that, she still refused to concede and claims that the election was stolen from her. And she's even gained the support of other prominent election deniers like Mike Lindell, who tried to bolster her claims. Case in point.
We have preliminary evidence that Candace Taylor, for every single vote that...
Preliminary evidence. Preliminary evidence that this election was rigged. Is she a flat earth theorist? Yes, she's a flat earther.
Kemp got, got their votes, and then Candace got 5% back. Now these are all through all the precinct.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a Republican civil war going on at the national and state levels, and at the state level in Georgia.
Oh, flat election theorist. She's an election denier, I guess. Yeah.
People like Candace Taylor are trying to move up in the ranks to cleanse the party of rhinos, like their governor, Brian Kemp. So her flat earth views might be fringe, but that could change if she is able to continue building her profile in Georgia. And given the state of American politics right now, I wouldn't be surprised if she one day was elected to Georgia's legislature or even Congress, because that's kind of the direction that our country is heading in, unfortunately. But until then, Candace Taylor is unquestionably my favorite lol cow this year, and I will continue to milk her for lulz so long as she keeps pumping out these bangers. Now, in conclusion, I'm going to leave you with a Candace Taylor music video that I made for absolutely no reason one day, so enjoy.
Everywhere there's glows. You see them all the time. I mean, it's constant. My children will be like, Mama, glows, 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 glows. I turn on TV, there's glows in the background. Every TV show, news, media, glows, 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 glows,
Why is everything a globe?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't know 100%, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
True.
I don't know.
This is her breakout rant about her dumbass globe conspiracy theory.
Is it or not? I don't know 100%, but it's just, it doesn't make sense the other way. Now that you see it.
The people that defend the globe don't know anything about the globe, because if they knew a tenth of what Matt and I know about the globe, they would be
Globe,
flat
globe,
earthers
globe,
because
globe.
it's absolutely ridiculous.
I can't.
Right, and the funny thing is, this dude got invited back, and he said he's not a flat earther. But in this segment, he says, you know, if anyone believed what I believed, what I'm espousing, then they would be flat earthers. If anyone believed the evidence, the evidence that I've presented, they would be flat earthers. So he is a flat earther.
And see this, all the globes everywhere. I turn on TV, there's globes in the background, there's globes on there right here. Like this would be a globe if I
Globe,
was a normal
globe,
person.
globe, globe,
Like,
globe,
everywhere there's
globe, globe.
globes.
Why?
You see them all the time. I mean, it's constant. My children will be like, Mama, globe, 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 globe.
Globe, globe,
They're
globe,
everywhere.
globe.
And that's what they do to brainwash. And so for me, if it is not a conspiracy, if it is, you know, real, why are you pushing so hard? Everywhere I go, every store, you buy a globe. There's globes everywhere, every movie, every TV show, news media. Why?
Now, we finally get an answer to that.
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely a flat earther, okay? Now that we've rewatched that in its entirety, yeah, she's definitely a flat earther. Considering all of this, think of her poor kids. Yeah, definitely. You want to talk about like indoctrination? You want to talk about indoctrination? Jeez. Shifting gears, now that we got that, wait, actually we do have another meme segment. Foot flat and basket flat are my favorite sports. True. One more delusional Republican clip, okay? Conservative clip, I should say.
Trump on those grounds, or that he's been convicted. So it is in doubt. And when you look at what I just think the Democrats wake up every morning, Emily, and they look at the calendar. The iPhone says January 6, 2021. The date never changes. And then they get an electric vehicle and go get an abortion. I just described the Democratic Party to you in 7 seconds.
True. Every every Democrat wakes up, looks at their phone, automatically sets it to January 6th, gets in their electric vehicle, and immediately goes to obtain an abortion procedure. True. You got indoctrinated by your parents with the belief that gay people deserve to live in peace. I got indoctrinated by my parents with the belief that the United Nations is trying to trick people into denying heliocentrism. You're not the same. Yeah, another person that needs to go away. Yep. Apparently, Democrats wake up every morning to change the calendar to January 6th, get in their electric vehicles to have abortions. True. This is a very well-known modus operandi of Democrats. Yeah. Where I've been with the craft, la hocus pocus to gain youth from local kiddos. Real Democrats don't sleep, we only scheme. True. Speaking of Tim Pool, yeah. Study says that women are happier without marriage and children. And of course, Tim Pool decides that the proper response to that says until they're 35, and then the panic sets in. So in other words, another way of interpreting this, another way of putting it, because Tim Pool is a coward and doesn't want to say it with his chest, but another way of putting it is that basically he sees no other value to women except marriage and children. That is the only thing that he sees valuable in women. Famous centrist, Tim Pool. Famous centrist. Man, I'd feel very embarrassed if I was Tim Pool's girlfriend. Hey Tim Pool, let's see you do one show without the beanie, and then talk to us about Panic. True. Why would a woman feel fulfilled without a man or child when she could live with Tim Pool, who is both a band and a child? True. What does Tim Pool know about women? Nothing. Even Shapiro is married with kids, which also coincidentally, by his own admission, knows nothing about women. God, his poor wife. His poor wife and kids. I would just go with male. Women dig beanie dudes. Not gonna lie, I kind of feel that. But, then Tim Pool starts talking, You see, I like to wear beanies, not because I'm insecure, not because I'm insecure about my appearance, but because I genuinely like beanies. I specifically like this beanie. So we are not the same. We are not the same. Woman buys a beanie, breathes a sigh of relief, and goes, "Now there, I have no need of Tim Pool." Listen, I'm pro beanie. Okay, I love this beanie. I've had this beanie for years. I've had this beanie for definitely more than 4 years. I've had this beanie definitely more than 4 years. It is by far my favorite beanie. I just like hats, all hats. I mean, I like baseball caps. I wear baseball caps too. And bucket hats. Yeah, I guess I do wear a variety of different hats sometimes. We are pro beanie here. True. All right. Now we got that out of the way.
You'll recall over the weekend that Donald Trump, maybe not purposely,
My head is too sexy. I have to keep it covered.
maybe purposely, quoted Adolf Hitler in talking about immigrants poisoning the blood of our country. And yeah, I guess we don't know whether he inadvertently quoted Hitler or purposely quoted Hitler. I'm not comforted by either.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, on one hand, like, he's a fan of Hitler. On the other hand, he like, the Hitler particles are just naturally radiating from him. Bucket hat like your store. That's right. There is a bucket hat in the merch store. Go check it out. I'm pro beanie until the temperature goes above 45. Nah, come on. You can still wear a beanie. I lived in Florida and I still wore my beanie. Not without overheating. I mean, I'm by nature a Florida man, so I don't know if it just didn't affect me. But yeah, I used to wear, I used to wear beanies all the time, even in Florida. Hold on, folks. Let me show you something. The top of my skull is the most efficient heat exchange. Yeah, see, this is the bucket hat. This is the bucket hat. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you for real. Wait, I didn't even put it right. There we go. There you go. That's the bucket hat that I have. You look like you just got back from photographing some gators. I did used to live in Florida. Carlos the Angler, true. I mean, this is also a good hat to go around, like, hiking. So it works for that, too. I've taken this on a few hikes. There we go.
Answer, frankly.
Either consciously quoting Hitler or just having an ideological sympathy to his ideas.
And exactly.
Those are the two options.
Increasingly, you know, I mean, it gets harder to push back on Donald Trump doing this when the Senate and Joe Biden are working on legislation as part of their broader aid package for Ukraine and Israel that essentially demonizes, makes this country more hostile I don't know how you want to put it, to both refugee seekers and immigrants. Nevertheless, it is different than Donald Trump using Hitler's rhetoric.
I got a new air purifier. Nice.
To discuss his immigration policy. Here is Representative Nicole Malliotakis.
Malio's stock tips, as George Santos refers to her, which is quite fun.
But that's just because she somehow has gotten used her position in Congress to make really successful stock trades.
Mm-hmm. And she's one of the New York Republicans who I would say are a little bit in jeopardy. She has Max Rose's old seat, and so
well, to be fair, that's kind of a bipartisan thing, right?
Part of her district is Staten Island, which is conservative, but New York Republicans overperformed because of the weakness of Kathy Hochul's candidacy. And now when 2024 comes, with abortion being on the ballot, she may be in trouble. So it's interesting to see her try to do this tap dance when trying to justify Trump's extremely racist rhetoric.
She's got one other headwind, too, beside the fact that it's a on-year election in terms of the presidential election. About a week ago, the Supreme Court in New York just decided that there can be redistricting, and it's quite possible that her district may become a little bit less favorable to her going forward. So she is in full-on panic mode, and here she is on CNN's Abby Phillips. This is her. Her attempt to justify Trump's comments are, again, one of those things where it's like, I'm not sure justify or I'm not sure this works in the way that you think it does, but go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sam Jordan, Director of Humanitarian Action for the International Rescue Committee. Conflict and constraints.
Simply asking, is Trump right that immigrants are poisoning the blood of this country?
Well, I don't think that's what he was saying. When he said they are poisoning, I think he was talking about the Democratic policies.
What? No, he wasn't saying things like immigrants are poisoning the blood of the country. No, he's talking about, Democrats' policy. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Even though he's on video saying immigrant, and I think he's like quadrupled down on this thing at this point. So there's no ambiguity here. I don't think he said the thing he demonstrably said. Yeah.
I think he was talking about the open border policy. And if you look at what our mayor...
Pause it for 1 second.
No, he wasn't talking about the open border policy. Like any immigration rhetoric coming from conservatives, is just is just xenophobia. That's it. That's it. They place this they place this in a vehicle of like immigration policy. But no, this has nothing to do with immigration. They're just racist. That's it. Yeah, there's no such thing as open border policy. And you're right. Biden has quietly been following Trump on immigration. Correct. So it's not about immigration. Because if they'd be honest, on paper, the policies for immigration are almost exactly the same. Save for a few differences. But a lot of the Trump era policies are still the same. There's a couple differences, but for all intents and purposes, the immigration policy hasn't really changed that much. So it's not about immigration, right? That's just a vehicle to deliver. That's just a vehicle to deliver racism, essentially. Yeah, there is no open border. Okay, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. If you ask any one of these clowns, if you ask any one of these conservative clowns, like, what do you mean by open border policy? Like, can you demonstrate, like, what open border policy you are talking about? They can't point to one because it doesn't exist, because it's not true.
Second, I just want, I mean, we should just take that in. They are poisoning the blood of our country. All right, let's just even take her at face value. The Democratic policies, the policies are poisoning our blood. Well, how would the policies about immigration poison our blood? Presumably, I mean, unless it was like something like everybody needs to, maybe she's talking about the vaccines, like that, or something to that effect. Everybody, our immigration policy is that we got to poison, we got to put vaccines in there, or maybe there is a policy that we're not.
But that doesn't make sense, because, like, what does that have to do with whether or not immigrants, like, how does that, immigrants aren't factored into that equation. Or, like, it doesn't make sense. Someone made a good point on CNN. The Obama birth certificate scam was about getting Obama removed from the ballot. Kind of ironic. No, it's just, if that's true, like, just kind of following that logic train, every accusation is just a confession, right?
Aware of, where it's literally everybody gets a blood transfusion as part of our immigration policy. Or maybe she's saying the people we're letting in is poisoning our blood. It's an interesting defense, but go backwards.
And what do they mean by, like, our blood? Right? What do they mean by poisoning the blood of the country? Like, what does that mean? Translation, it's just Nazi rhetoric. It's just white supremacist shit. That's it. Nobody talks like that except, like, white supremacists. Goodies, true.
Saying when he said they are poisoning, I think he was talking about the Democratic policies. I think he was talking about the open border policy. And if you look at what our mayor here in New York City is saying, that this migrant crisis is destroying New York City, I think it's pretty much the same thing. What we're trying to say here is that we need to have secure borders. You know what's actually poisoning America is the amount of fentanyl that's coming over our open border. And so this is a really serious issue. And
what? What a shame that you can't just ask him what he meant.
I think that that's what he's talking about.
And besides, like, even if you were in a position to, like, actually ask him, like, direct face to face, like, hey, bro, what do you mean by that? Like, he's not gonna give you a direct answer. He's not gonna give you the people that need that understood. Does that make sense? He's not going to give you a direct answer. Even if you were to be able to be face to face and ask him, like, hey, what do you mean by, like, poisoning the blood of the country? Like, what blood are you talking about exactly? Come on. Tell me. He's not going to go and say, like, oh, well, white people. He's not going to say that.
That the open borders are unsafe, that it's unsustainable, it's bankrupting cities like ours, and we need to address it.
Congresswoman, you're saying that's what you think he's saying, but he was pretty clear. He was saying that.
Yeah, like, it's not a one-time occurrence either. Like, this is not a new thing, okay? His rhetoric, this type of rhetoric is not even new for him. But yeah, I mean, whatever Olympic levels of mental gymnastics you need to perform to excuse it. Sure.
The immigrants who are coming in, he says they're poisoning the blood of the nation. He says
never said immigrants
they're doing
are poisoning, though.
He's talking about people coming in.
Can we pause actually really quickly? Because I have the quote I was just looking up here, just so there's no ambiguity. Trump said nobody knows where these people are coming from. I guess this is from a September interview. This is not from the speech. I apologize. I don't have the full quote in front of me. The article was wrong. But he said, they're poisoning the blood of our country. This is the quote. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world. So this wasn't about democratic policies. It was where they are coming from, are poisoning the blood of our country. But as you say, Sam, even if you take her at face...
Yeah, like, notice, like, the countries that he specifically brought up, like China, Africa. Yeah. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, and some I assume are good people.
Value, what he would be saying is that the Democrats are poisoning the blood of our country by allowing the people who come into the country to poison the blood of our country.
But, like, what does that mean? The answer is he's talking about, like, white people, okay? That's what he's talking about. He refers to South America. Oh, yeah, of course. So, literally everyone except for, white people.
It's interesting because I think if you were to take what he literally said and assume that it was policies coming in from Africa and Asia, that would be weird. It would be weird that they did that. But I love how she's struggling and struggling. She finally lands on fentanyl and wishes she had said that earlier. They, as in fentanyl. But go ahead.
Need to address it. Congresswoman, you're saying that's what you think he's saying, but he was pretty clear. He was saying that the immigrants who are coming in, he says they're poisoning the blood of the nation. He says
never said immigrants
they're doing
are poisoning, though.
He's talking about people coming
I honestly think it was being.
We just played it.
Yeah, and he said he didn't say the words immigrants. I think he was talking about the democratic policies.
He was talking about people, not policies. He was talking about people.
Look, I know that.
Yeah, and it's not like he just said it once either. Okay? Like, after that first time, he said it several times. It's true. After all, what ethnic group could come from Asia, Africa, and South America? Only white people were poisoning the precious American blood. True.
Some are trying to make it seem like President Trump is anti-immigrant. The reality is he was married to immigrants. He's hired immigrants. I mean, he's not.
He was talking about people coming across the border. He was
they're coming over the border.
Yeah, like, exactly. Because do you think that, like, Donald Trump is talking about his immigrant wife? Do you really think that Donald Trump is talking about Melania Trump poisoning the blood of this country? He's whistling the dogs of our nation. Because he's not talking about Melania, okay? I wonder why. Some of my best friends are immigrants.
He was saying that they were bringing crime, they were bringing violence with them when they came into the country. So will you agree that he's talking about immigrants?
That's not exactly true, but okay.
No, but the thing is that our open borders is unsafe and unsustainable. We know that the drug cartels are bringing in and setting up operations selling fentanyl and other drugs to the point where over 100,000 Americans have died. We know that there is crime taking place. And that's not to say that all immigrants are bad. My parents are immigrants. I represent a community full of immigrants.
Wait, so are you saying that your parents poisoned the blood of this country? Follow-up question. Where are your parents from?
I will tell you from the immigrants that I know is that they're very upset by the lack of order that we're seeing at the border.
And look, you've talked.
What's the name of this lady, Nicole? Nicole Ma. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I wish it would tell me where her parents came from. She's Greek and Cuban. She's that woman that George Santos was accusing of using her congressional power to win the stock market after he got yeeted. Yep. Yep, that's her.
And look, we've talked to you actually about your background.
That makes so much sense. If her parents are, if her mom or dad are Cuban, this makes a lot of sense.
Around your immigrant history. I have immigrant history too, so we share that. Exactly, we all do. But let's talk for a second here about the fact that Trump continuously, repeatedly uses this rhetoric that now, maybe you could say the first time he didn't know the references, the parallels to authoritarians. He knows now. Why does he keep saying it over and over?
Because he believes it, okay? Jesus.
Again.
Well, look, I just think he's trying to bring attention to the issue.
He's using the rhetoric of authoritarians to bring attention to this issue.
I think what the important thing is we need to pay attention to this issue. I mean, look, let's admit what's going on here in this country.
She does have a bit of a Ted Cruz look. Not all Cubans. I'm just saying it makes sense.
We have drug cartels that are running our southern border. We have the women and children, by the way, who are coming over the border. How many of them are being raped along the journey? Doctors Without Borders even put out a report saying between Colombia and Panama, there were 400 children and women that they treated who were being raped. Every single person coming.
So the solution is to be as cruel as possible and deport them back to danger. Got it. Oh, she said all Americans are immigrants. Did she? I didn't catch that.
Coming over that border is paying the drug cartels thousands of dollars to get here. What are they doing with that money? They are in turn selling drugs. The drug cartels.
All right. Just some statistics that maybe you'd be interested in. United States citizens comprised 86% of fentanyl trafficking convictions in 2021. We don't have updated numbers beyond that. More than 96% of fentanyl seizures along the border since the start of the fiscal year 2023 have been at legal U.S. ports of entry.
Yep.
Right.
That means that people legally trying to enter the country are trying to smuggle in fentanyl.
And okay, so
again, it's just xenophobia. That's it. That's the only. That's it. It's literally just it. They're just racist bigots. That's it. Trump forgets his own parents are illegal immigrants who bought their way in.
Trump hired immigrants So he must love them. I mean, that's typically how people show their solidarity with marginalized groups, is that they employ them. And in Trump's case, often they will steal their wages or not pay certain people. But putting that aside for a second, Trump married an immigrant, okay, but she was the kind of immigrant and the complexion of immigrant that he might agree with. Malliotakis is an immigrant herself.
Yeah, that's it. Because, like, you'll never hear that that rhetoric against Melania. Like, Trump isn't gonna say, like, oh, Melania is poisoning the blood of our country. No. It's just, the immigrants that are not white.
Well, her complexion, under Trump's estimation, or most of the people that vote for him, that would be fine. Because in the quote, Trump refers to those who are poisoning the blood of our country as those coming from Africa and from Asia specifically, and not just, as he said in the comments, the countries that you think of in South America or whatever. Do we have the clip of Trump so we could just put that full context there? Because,
yeah, let's put this up.
Yeah, there's no ambiguity. It's amazing to me.
Wait till the divorce proceedings.
She didn't go into this, as I said, to start, understanding that she's in a precarious position in a blue state with any other freaking idea of how she was going to combat this Nazi rhetoric from Trump.
And what's also, I mean, you're on CNN. You have the ability to pull video clips, probably from CNN. If not, you could find it with Newsmax. Here is that clip. Not to give producers at CNN a little lesson on how they should do their job, but this is easy.
Nah, come on. Absolutely. Like, if you as a really big media empire cannot be bothered to actually make sure that, like, the massive amount of audience you have in front of you gets, like, the full context, just in case, like, just to paint the whole picture, like, that's a little irresponsible and lazy. Must have some ego to go on CNN to be grilled.
Stuff.
Ah.
They've destroyed our country, and we're going to make it great again, greater than ever before.
We're going to make it greater. Okay, because it was already great under me.
And there's nothing I can do that's going to top that. I've had plenty of the other life, right? We've had plenty of the other life. We got a lot of work to do. When they I think the real number is 15, 16 million people into our country, when they do that, we got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just...
What are you talking about?
Just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over.
Yeah, so not just Central America. Like, he's literally just saying, like, non-white people. That's it. that's where that thought process begins and ends. Do you think someone might have put that line in his ear? Maybe. I mean, it's not like it's not like it's not out of character, but also, like, I don't know, Stephen Miller was one of his speechwriters, for a while, during his presidency. So maybe some of that stuck. Maybe he's a true believer. It doesn't matter. In my opinion, like, it could be the case that somebody's just putting this line in his ear. He might actually believe it. He might have heard it. He might have gotten it from Stephen Miller. I don't know. But the point being is that the outcome is the same. The effect is the same. So I mean, it's quite possible, but also, like, I'm not going to spend too much energy trying to think about whether or not someone actually believes it. actually believes what garbage they're saying. It's a matter of like what the outcome of said garbage. The American dream is that even if your parents are criminals, you have unlimited potential. He is not fit to walk free. Holy F, dude. Yep. The current front runner, of the Republican Party, and yeah, Stephen Miller, Nosferatu's before picture.
All over the world, they're pouring into our country. Nobody's even looking at them. They just come in. The crime is going to be tremendous. All
right, I think.
Wait. The crime is going to be tremendous? I thought it was already tremendous. I don't know which is it. People from foreign insane asylums are coming to America somehow. Yeah, definitely a thing that's happening.
He's clearly talking about policies come pouring in from all around the world. Policies come in.
Mm-hmm.
And those policies come in and then poison the blood of our America.
Country, yeah.
It's so much paper.
Yeah. Or the fentanyl. It's funny that he goes through all of those things and doesn't say fentanyl.
It is weird.
He's just talking about people.
It's implied.
Yep. Good luck, Malatakis. I mean, and frankly,
campaign ad.
We're going to be
that
seeing
appearance.
This,
Campaign ad.
Hopefully, we're going to be seeing more of the media, and then at one point, the New York congressional delegation, I imagine some from California as well, and a couple other places are just not going to go on television anymore. Because increasingly, hopefully, they'll be asked whether or not they support the rhetoric and the plans of Donald Trump. And they should be held to account for the leadership and the direction.
Yeah, 100%. Like, every time one of these clowns go on television, every time, these people cannot go on TV and speak in cable or other public news sources, interviews, radio, whatever it is. Wherever these people go, it is the responsibility of the interviewer or host to ask them, like, hey, what is this? This is the leader, the presumed front runner at this time. What is this all about? Like, do you agree with this? Is this okay with you? Force them to sweat. Force them to perform these mental Olympic levels of mental gymnastics to try to wiggle, their way out of that every single time, no matter what. If it's a radio interview, if it's a podcast, whatever it is, if it's cable, it doesn't matter. Everywhere they go, these people should be asked, like, do you agree with this? Like, do you think that this is, like, okay? The current frontrunner of the Republican Party, who cannot run in the primary debates because he refuses to sign the pledge that if he loses the primary, he will gracefully back the winner. He is poisoning our minds. Yep. Fear-mongering Trump does it like you would not believe. Making these clowns wiggle would be good content, too. Yeah, it is good content. You see that? You saw that?
Of their party. Just as Democrats should be on theirs.
Yeah. So let's piggyback off that. Trump claims he's never read Hitler's Mein Kampf as he doubles down on anti-immigrant phrase. Or another way of putting it, Nazi rhetoric. Like, it isn't just anti-immigrant. It isn't just an anti-immigrant phrase. Like, that is very specifically, like, Nazi rhetoric. Anyways, former President Trump said on Tuesday, Tuesday night at a campaign stop in Iowa, that he has not read Mein Kampf, the manifesto written by Adolf Hitler. Trump made the statement following the recent criticism comparing his words over undocumented immigrants to those used by Hitler in the lead up to World War II. Well, he distanced himself from the controversial book. Trump doubled down on his previous comments about undocumented immigrants. They're destroying the blood of our country. Like, see, like he's not talking about policies, okay? He's literally doubling down on this again. They're destroying the blood of our country. Trump said about the waves of migrants who have crossed the borders. They're ruining our country, and it's true. They're destroying the blood of our country. That's what they're doing. They're destroying our country. Yeah, I mean, this is just Nazi shit. This is just Nazi shit. He has it on Audible. Yeah, my final commentary is like, I actually believe him because Trump doesn't read. There's nothing that could convince me otherwise. Okay? There's no way that Trump has the wherewithal to sit down and read Mein Kampf. Okay? Throughout the 2024 election cycle, the former president has said people across the border illegally are poisoning the blood. On multiple occasions, he recently has ramped up the use of the phrase during his last campaign speech. This has drawn criticisms from those who claim that Hitler and white supremacists use similar language, because they do, pointing to the fact that Hitler wrote about blood poisoning in Mein Kampf, because it's Nazi shit. After telling the crowd he has never read Hitler's book, Trump went on to say that Hitler used the phrase in a much different way. Nah, wait. How do you know that if you didn't read read the book? Didn't Mary Trump say he had a copy of it on his nightstand for years? Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't see him having the wherewithal to read that thing from cover to cover. Steve Bannon assured me that Hitler didn't mean it like that. He just really needs to have people talking about him. That's also a factor. That should be an immediate DQ for president. Yep. Yeah, hey, let's look at the context, okay? Everyone, turn to page 179 of your Mein Kampf copies, please. Gentlemen, your minds have been poisoned, as you imagine, when trances come to church. Trances? And they are crowned in the name of God when the scripture about sin is written in the Bible. Oh man, have you jumped into the wrong chat? Are you lost, buddy? After telling the crowd he's never read Hitler's book, Trump went on to say that Hitler used the phrase in a much different way because, you know, he's never read the book, so how would he know anyways? Question mark. They don't like it when I said that. I never read Mein Kampf. They said, oh, Hitler said that in a much different way. No. No, he didn't. They're coming from all over the world. People all over the world, Trump told at his Iowa event. You mean non-whites. Got it. Trump continued to use disparaging language when talking about immigrants who have crossed the border, accusing them of bringing in crime and destroying the fabric of our country. They could bring in disease. That's literally Hitler shit. That is like literally Hitler shit 101. Dehumanize a group of people by calling them diseased. Dude's really not trying to beat the Hitler particles accusation, right? They could bring in disease that's going to catch it on in our country, but they do bring in crime. They're destroying the blood of our country. They're destroying the fabric of our country. What else is there to say? it's not it's not unambiguous. This is as explicit as it can possibly get. And this is the front runner of the Republican Party. This is the leader of the Republican Party. The remarks were said during the Trump Christmas rally in Waterloo, Iowa, where festivities were outshined by breaking legal news regarding Trump's eligibility to appear in the Colorado presidential. Yeah, and of course, we start, I'm convinced that because we cover a lot of, like, conservative stuff, like, I get all kinds of, like, weird ads, and now I'm getting Jordan Peterson ads. We who wrestle with God. It could bring a disease, but you were literally the president when COVID happened, and your whole policy wasn't actually say the disease isn't happening. Right, because it's not about any kind of logical reasoning or anything like that. It's just racist xenophobia to dehumanize. This is dehumanizing rhetoric. It's on purpose. It's on purpose. The fact that that these people can hold completely contradictory thought processes is a pretty clear indication of the fascist tendencies that these people have. Trump is the infection that settles into the open wounds of the GOP. I think he's more of the I don't even know how I can make that allegory work right now. Because he isn't really the infection. The infection was already there. The infection was already there. Trump kind of just... He's like a vector. He's like the vector. He's the vehicle that allowed this to be acceptable. Or more acceptable. Because, like, a lot of these people... I made the case before that, like, a lot of these, like, Republicans were here way before... were way before Trump. Like, you're talking about, like... Mitch McConnell and these other Republicans who have been here for decades. They were here before Trump. Alright, so we know Trump was taken out of the ballot for now. Despite news of a ruling breaking through roughly an hour before Trump took the stage, the former president did not directly mention. Instead, he stuck to his usual unsubstantiated claims that President Biden is responsible for the investigations into him, while accusing Biden and Democrats being willing to violate the Constitution at levels never seen before to win the election, which is, again, projection because, like, he shouldn't even be running to begin with. But, okay. Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. Which, again, projection. They're weaponizing law enforcement for high-level election interference because we're beating them so badly in the polls, even though the polls are a statistical tie right now. Yeah, no, it's projection, right? Every accusation is just a confession, right? So if Trump is saying that Biden is a threat to democracy, what he means is he's a threat to democracy. Trump kicked off his speech earlier in the night by attempting to lower expectation for Iowa caucus results while still boasting about his lead in the polls. This is really important. Our country's at stake. We have a country that's never been in trouble like it is right now. Yeah, this is like this is so fascistic rhetoric. So get out and vote on whether we're leading in the polls or not leading in the polls, Trump said. Yeah. Cool. Phenomenal. Great stuff. Truly, very, very consoling times. I feel very comfortable knowing that the opposing party's leading candidate is literally freaking channeling Hitler. Very, very comforting. Comforting times, I tell you. Whew. This is just kind of an update. And listen, folks. I may be facetious, but like the reality is, it's kind of sort of really grim, and it's very dark that like that is the leading candidate of the opposition party at this time, the opposing party, I should say. That we're to the point where we're listening to first of all, a former president, and currently the front runner, of the other major political party, unironically channeling Hitler rhetoric, whether he actually read Mein Kampf or not, or did it, or is on purpose, it doesn't matter. The point being is that he said it, and he means it, and he's doubled and tripled down on it. Very, very, very grim. I mean, hopefully, in an ideal scenario, the federal Supreme Court upholds the Colorado ruling, and upholds the Colorado ruling, and maybe more states follow suit, especially if like the important handful of states that do follow suit remove his name. That might do it. Unconstitutional grounds. But we'll see. And if SCOTUS does, Trump loses 9 electoral votes in Colorado. Yeah, but to be fair, Colorado wasn't probably not going to go his way. But the point being is that it sets the precedent that maybe other states could follow through, which maybe at that point we'll be talking a whole different story. Because if that hypothetical plays out, then he's in trouble. What's kind of grim is the Democrats are not offering us any choice but Joseph. That's true. That's very true. We're facing down, literally a dude, at this time. Potentially, again, the landscape could change, but it doesn't matter. The point stands right now. We're facing down a dude who's like literally channeling fucking Hitler, and like the best the Dems have managed to do is Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. Colorado was not voting for Trump. My fear is that they throw out all of Colorado's electoral votes, taking 9 from Biden. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's a scenario that would happen, right? The takes I have seen on this issue have been just low intelligence, disappointed in people's understanding on this topic. What do you mean? Precedent matters in a lot of legal cases. Yep. But how could the entirety of the electoral vote be would be taken out? It would just mean that Trump isn't eligible, right? Or do I have that wrong? Anyways, where I was going with this tangent is to stay vigilant, folks. Stay informed and stay safe. Yeah, for all intents and purposes, like that's the important part of that. Like that's a significant part of that, right? If he is not on our ballot and SCOTUS says that is unconstitutional, then they could negate the electoral votes entirely? Wow. If that's true, then geez. Then that would end up being a net negative because like Colorado is gonna probably like reasonably we can guess that was gonna go to Biden, right? They decide in theory one day before we print them. Lower court found factually that he committed insurrection, but legally found that he was not an officer, which is a stupid take. But the Colorado Supreme Court found that the factual finding of him being an insurrectionist is correct, but reversed that legal finding that he is barred from running for office forever. Got it. Right. Yeah. That part is understood. Which means if the Supreme Court holds that, it means that other states can start doing that, right? There's no need for a conviction. He was found by 2 separate courts that he factually committed insurrection. Right, and besides, the Constitution doesn't say that you have to be convicted, right? Like, the Constitution doesn't say that you have to, that you have to have been convicted of insurrectionary behavior. It just means that if you participated in an insurrection or you caused an insurrection or aided and abetted, gave aid and comfort to the enemy, then you can be barred from running. It doesn't say that you have to have a criminal trial and present a conviction. At no point does that say that. I saw that argument, but it doesn't make sense because that's not what the Constitution never. The Constitution never said anything like that. I mean, we read the 14th Amendment out loud. I mean, I'm not, I'm not a legal scholar, but I mean, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but, you got to put some critical thinking into it, right? I also saw that like some people were saying that like, even though that I don't want Trump to win, I still don't think that kicking him off the ballot is the right thing to do. Or like, I don't know, kicking Trump off the ballot seems undemocratic, and they could do that to us. They could do that to them. No. Listen, if you want to make the case that a Democratic candidate and prove that he did participate in insurrection and show that, and the judge determines that that is the case, and yeah, that's how you apply the Constitution. I mean, in my opinion, I think that that's how it flows, and it's not just my opinion. It seems to me that the judge in the Supreme Court of Colorado, the judges in the Supreme Court of Colorado agreed with that line of thinking. I want bliss. Me too. Okay. Me too. But then, I start reading about the world and understanding and having logical conversations. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So where I was going with this memo, for the record, yeah, I've seen people try to argue argue the case that like, oh, we shouldn't do this because like Republicans are just going to do this to us. No, I think this is very specific. Okay, I think this is very specific, and like, how is it undemocratic to apply the Constitution the way it was supposed to be used? What is the point of having the Constitution made the way it is if you're not even going to apply it? The U.S. Bill of Rights and the U.S. Constitution are not that difficult to read. Well, for some people. It's also like, it's also not just like difficulty to read. It's like how you interpret and apply that. That's where you get the gray areas, right? How you interpret and apply that is completely different to just like reading it at face value. Donald Trump, if Republicans not engaged with talking to them, they're all bad faith, un-American idiots. No, it's sad. What's even more frustrating is that, like, the places I've seen this rhetoric is, like, libs. I've seen libs make this argument. Like, oh, well, Republicans are gonna do this to us. They're hyper-American. Magna Carta is more difficult to read from England. The old English sucketh to read. Now, to be that, you have to believe in the Constitution. They are not citizens, merely residents. Yeah, for the group that believes they are true American patriots, when the rubber meets the road about actually reading and applying the Constitution, all of a sudden that goes out the window. Maybe they just never cared about that to begin with. Maybe that was only valuable to them as long as it served their purpose and for rhetoric and PR. But the moment it becomes inconvenient, that Constitution and whatever principles they have go right out the window. Anyways, just to go through this really quickly, Donald Trump has asked the Supreme Court to reject the DOJ's call for swift intervention in election fraud case. Former President Trump has asked the Supreme Court to steer clear of an unprecedented appeal that could resolve whether he is entitled to immunity from criminal charges over his role in attempting to overturn the election. So, in other words, he's basically trying to stop the question being answered as to whether or not a president has immunity from this, which logically, like, just, spitballing out here, no, you don't have, like, blanket immunity, okay? Like, they're trying to massage the clause or the words that say, like, oh, well, you have immunity when you're acting, as a officer, elected official, in the capacity of an elected official or something to that effect. But, like, I don't know, is criminal behavior falling under that? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. So the TLDR is that this is just another stall tactic. In my opinion, no, you don't just get blanket immunity because you are president, okay? A lot of overlap with religious people who haven't read the Bible. Right, because it's not about the Bible necessarily. Trump loves legal stall tactics. Yep. This is the action of a cornered rat. Yep. This is a stall tactic. If anything comes from this, we'll keep updates on this, especially these election interference cases. But yeah, this is just stall tactics. Unaffordable rents are linked to premature death. Capitalism. Doing great. We're doing great, folks. Phenomenal stuff. Renters burdened by unaffordable housing costs may be at higher risk of dying sooner, according to a new study published in the Journal of Social Science and Medicine. An individual paying 50% of their income towards rent in 2000 was 9% more likely to die over the next 20 years compared with someone paying 30% of their income towards rent, according to the study from researchers at Princeton and the U.S. Census Bureau Center for Economic Studies. Someone paying 70% of their income towards rent, meanwhile, was 12% more likely to die. Jesus. Yeah, the ordained by divinity article, the Constitution is pretty clear. Yeah, it's all there. Quote, we are surprised by the magnitude of the relationship between cost and mortality risk. Yeah. No, duh. We're surprised by the magnitude of relationship cost between cost and mortality risks, said Nick Rates, a postdoctoral research associate at Princeton and the study's lead author. It's an especially big problem when we consider how many people are affected by rising rents. This isn't a rare occurrence. Rising rents have far outpaced wages, leaving the typical renter in the U.S. paying 30% or more of their income for housing. In 2019, 4 in 5 renter households with incomes below $30,000 were rent burdened. Sheesh. The Princeton researchers collaborated with the Census Bureau to create a data set that allowed them to follow individual renters from 2000 on. They analyzed millions of records to understand the link between rent, burden, eviction, and mortality for people. In addition to the consequences of unaffordable rent, they found that even being threatened with eviction was associated with a 19% increase in mortality. Hey, you ever heard the saying, stress kills? Yeah. I spoke to a mom who's paying for her son's apartment and living expenses while he's in university. I nearly hugged her, but she's a stranger. Jeez. CNBC interview grates about the study's findings. The interview has been edited and condensed for clarity. As rents go up, family cuts back on other spending. What is it about that rent burden that increased mortality? We know housing is the primary cost for American families, and as rent goes up, families cut back on other spending, including essentials that affect their health. For example, poor households with children who are moderately rent burdened devoted 30 to 50% of their income to rent, spent 57% less on health care, and 17% on food compared to similar unburdened households. Jeez. Why is eviction even more than rent burden linked to higher mortality? Eviction is a really traumatic event that leads to disenrollment from social safety net programs such as Medicaid. It can also lead to job loss and other hosts of negative consequences, like stress. And if you are out of your roof and you have no nowhere to go, yeah. Eviction can compromise a person's physical and mental health by exposing them to prolonged periods of intense house precarity, including homelessness and acute stress, which, again, as I just said, stress kills. In addition, eviction can increase exposure to infectious disease as seen during the COVID pandemic. Just even having an eviction filing on your record can limit your ability to secure future safe and stable housing, which can have impacts on health outcomes. Right. Because, you know, if you have like an eviction on your record, like that's it. You basically, it's a lot harder to find rent, to be able to rent out a place. Cheap food is also less healthy. Yep. What efforts for change do you hope to see in response to your findings? Things that will never get done. Demonstrate in this new paper that as rent burdens hit record highs, we should be considering policies to reduce evictions and guarantee affordable housing, just not as not just a housing policy, but as critical health policy. In general, we live under a system that makes it really difficult. Hey, real quick, what system do we live under? I think that's rather important. In general, we live under a system, capitalism, communism. True. We live under a system that makes it really difficult to retain our housing whenever we experience a problem, like job loss. Why is that? Because we live in a commodified, in a hyper-commodified capitalist system that essentially says, oh, you can't afford housing? Sucks to suck. Oh, you can't afford, you're being forced to choose between food and having a roof over your head, and now because you're being forced to make those decisions, you are buying crappier food, you're foregoing, I don't know, checkups that you would normally get every year, and then you find yourself with a serious health problem down the line that you could have caught earlier. Damn. Yeah, must be my own fault. A corporate plutocracy, yeah. Well, what you're describing is the, reaching that end stage of capitalism. You must have made such bad life decisions becoming homeless. Not my problem. That could be that could be a Ben Shapiro quote. Honestly. In general, we live under capitalism that makes it really difficult to retain housing whenever we experience a problem, sudden health issue in the family or yourself. A car crash or any other expected problem can lead to an eviction in a short term because wages have not kept up with cost of living, which is part of being exploited under capitalism. At any point, you could literally lose the roof over your head. It's especially important to act now. Eviction filings are increasing in every city and state that we track. Are there any policies currently in effect that are making the problem better? Across the U.S., cities and states are trying different and sometimes overlapping policies to promote housing stability and avoid evictions. Some important legal aid programs include the right to counsel. When tenants are provided legal counsel, the odds of them remaining in their homes increase dramatically. Under New York City right to counsel, in eviction courts, 84% of representative renters facing evictions remain housed. In Cleveland, 93% of represented renters facing eviction avoid displacement. Many cities like Rhode Island and D.C. are considering programs like rent control, socialized housing, or public housing, but like public housing, not landlord giveaways. We just went over a UBI study. I mean, there's policies that can be done. Mixed use with more resident involvement and governance than traditional public housing. We need to create a country where quality housing is affordable to everyone. Well, the problem is, like, housing is one of those things that, like, isn't optional. for optimum like human life and survival, you need to have shelter. Food, housing, education, and shelter are things that are, in my opinion, non-negotiable. What we know about Texas' new law that lets police arrest migrants who enter the U.S. illegally. You know, a thing that's under the purview of the executive branch of the federal government. How far can the state go to keep migrants out of the U.S.? The answer may soon come out of Texas, where a new law signed by fascist Governor Abbott this week will allow the police to arrest migrants who cross the border illegally and give local judges the authority to order them to leave the country, which is not a thing that they can do. Acting quickly, civil rights groups in a Texan border county filed a lawsuit Tuesday that seeks to stop the measure from taking effect in March, calling it unconstitutional. The White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, also blasted the Texas law, but wouldn't say whether the Justice Department would challenge it. The measure would allow any Texas law enforcement officer to arrest people who are suspected of entering the country illegally. Once in custody, migrants could either agree to a Texas judge's order to leave the U.S. or be prosecuted on a misdemeanor charge of illegal entry. Migrants who don't leave could face arrest again under more serious felony charges. Arresting officers must have probable cause, which include witnessing the illegal entry themselves or seeing it on video. The law cannot be enforced against people lawfully present in the U.S., including those who are granted asylum or who are enrolled in the deferred DACA. The goal of these laws is to make sure that when they see somebody crossing the border, as the National Guard see, as the Texas Department of Public Safety sees, they know they're not profiling. They are seeing with their own eyes people who are violating the law. However, critics, including Mexico's President AMLO, worry that the law could lead to racial profiling and family separation. I mean, yeah. Given the fact that, like, who's making these laws, yeah. And this is necessary because brown people. You should have started your retirement plan 7 generations ago, stupid. True. I should have just been born into the right rich family, you know? That's my mistake, okay? My mistake was not being born into the right rich family. The law could be enforced against people lawfully present, cannot be enforced against people lawfully present in the U.S., including those who are granted asylum or enrolled in the DACA program. The goal of these laws is to make sure that when they see somebody crossing over the border, as the National Guard see, the Texas Department of Public Safety see, they know they're not profiling. They're seeing with their own eyes people who are violating the law. However, critics, including President AMLO, worry that the law could lead to racial profiling and family separation. The ACLU affiliates in Texas and some neighboring states issued a travel advisory this week, warning people of a possible threat their civil and constitutional rights violations when passing through Texas. Naughty, yeah. Look, this is the kind of stuff that you get when you listen to too much conservative media. You get awesome ads, right? Naughty ads. I won't set foot in Texas. The more listen, I'm gonna be honest, the more conservative media I watch, like the more bizarre the ads get. And like honestly, like I don't even care. This isn't even like that bad. I get some pretty weird ads because I listen to a lot of like conservative stuff. Like the YouTube ads that I get are just like all kinds of like weird gun stuff. I get I'm looking forward to the HADs. My coworker fills me in on all right-wing conspiracies. He's a huge Joe Rogan fan and Jones fan. Oh. I'm sorry. I just find it interesting that, like, that's the type of ads that I get. During a news briefing on Tuesday, the Red Pill scammers seem to love the right. Oh, yeah. Even before Joe's show, I thought he was cringe. He is cringe. He told me how much he likes Ramaswamy today. I'm sorry for your loss. During a news briefing on Tuesday, Lopez Obrador said Abbott was looking to score political points with people's lives. Yeah, I've said that before. The Texas governor acts this way because he wants to be the Republican vice presidential candidate and wants to win popularity with these measures. Lopez Obrador said he's not going to win anything. On the contrary, he's going to lose support because there's a lot of Mexicans in Texas, a lot of migrants. Where would this law be enforced? It can be enforced anywhere in Texas. The Republican state representative David Spiller, who carried the bill in the Texas House, said he expects the vast majority of arrests will occur within 50 miles of the U.S.-Mexico border. Some places are off limits. Arrests can't be made in public and private schools, churches, synagogues, or other established places of worship, hospitals, and other healthcare facilities, including those where sexual assault forensic examinations are conducted. Under the law, migrants ordered to leave would be sent to the ports of entry along with the border with Mexico, even if they are not Mexican citizens. What? So why are you, like, de facto deporting people to, like, a place that they may or may not even be citizens from? I've been doing Nogab for a month now. I'm at least a foot taller now and I can read minds. No fab. At least he thinks the world is a sphere. Legal experts and immigrants' rights have said that the measure is a clear conflict with the U.S. government's authority to regulate immigration. A key claim in the Tuesday lawsuit filed by the ACLU and other groups is that it violates the U.S. Constitution's Supremacy Clause. The suit accuses Texas of trying to create a new state system to regulate immigration that completely bypasses and conflicts with the federal system. Opponents have called the measure the most dramatic attempt by a state to police immigration since a 2010 Arizona law denounced by critics as the Show Me Your Papers bill that was largely struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court. The court's 2012 decision on the Arizona law stated that federal government has the exclusive power over immigration. Abbott and other Republicans have said that President Biden is not doing enough to control the southern border, despite we've already been through this. Policies are the same. Are very similar. In his absence, Texas has the constitutional authority to secure our border through his historic laws like SB 4, Abbott said in a statement. The U.S. government has not said whether it will challenge the Texas law as it did with Arizona's measure. Mexico's president has indicated his country will intervene. Abbott signed this law on Monday amid an increase in border crossings that has stretched U.S. Customs and Border Protection resources. Troy Miller, the agency's acting commissioner, has called the number of daily arrivals unprecedented, with illegal crossings topping over 10,000 a day across the border in December. Thousands of asylum seekers who have crossed are sleeping outside the border overnight as they wait for federal agents to process them. More are released with notices to appear in immigration courts, which are backlogged with 3 million cases. Many of the crossings at the Texas cities of Eagle Pass and El Paso where federal officials suspended cross-border rail traffic in response to migrants riding freight trains to Mexico, hopping off just before entering the U.S. U.S. government also recently shut down the nearby international crossing between Lukeville and Arizona, Sonata, Mexico, and to free Custom and Border Protection officers assigned to the port of entry to help with transportation and other support. The agency has also partially closed a few other border ports of entry, including a pedestrian crossing bridge in San Diego. I think they want it challenged so that they can get to SCOTUS to rule on it again with a right-wing court. Yeah, that seems to be the most effective strategy that they've managed to have success with. So makes sense. Welcome, Fu Manchu. You know what? The law is dead at the moment it gets challenged. I've been doing NoFap for a month and I'm at least a foot taller and I can read minds. The Ponder Monkey with 100 biddies. Thank you so much. Heat with the 10 biddies. Thank you so much. Yeah, this makes total sense. I mean, they have definitely a more favorable Supreme Court now. Although, depending on how the landscape looks in the next couple of months, you know, it may be the case that it might be more beneficial for them to leave that to the executive in the hopes that the Republicans win the election. Who knows? I guess either way, trying to get things before the right wing, trying to get things before the right wing court is probably their best bet as well. It's worked for them before. They're big mad over Colorado right now. Speaking of which, by the way, Ramaswamy is threatening to withdraw from the Colorado ballot if if Trump is off the ballot. So, yeah. Bannon is a fiend, I'm convinced. So in a very normal and very hinged thought process, Steve Bannon wants kids to use guns to defend themselves from bullies. You know, very, very normal, a very hinged thought process. Steve Bannon, a fascist media personality and former advisor to President Trump, also a fascist, suggested in a recent public appearance that children should be armed with guns in order to ward off bullies. Previously a chairman for Conservative Outlet. Yeah, sure. You know, the closest thing that to mainstream that Stormfront has, Breitbart News. Bannon served as chief executive officer for Trump's 2016 presidential campaign and later became his chief strategist during the former president's first 7 months in the White House. Since leaving the Trump administration, Bannon has hosted the War Room podcast and advocated for far-right political projects globally. On Tuesday, Bannon's broadcast an episode from his podcast from Turning Point USA's America Fest, during which he advocated for American children to receive firearm trainings in school, arguing that possessing guns would also help them combat bullying, a suggestion that drew cheers from the conservative crowd at the event. Oh my God, this is so very normal and very, very hinged. Wow. You know what really deters bullying? Yeah, like just having, shootouts in school. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that Epstein client list will tank the stock market? Looks like the stock market didn't like Trump being on the ballots. I don't care. I'll be honest, I don't care. Okay? I really don't. If the Epstein client list takes the stock market, yeah, you know what really resolves bullying? Duels in the middle of school. People, kids shooting at each other, There's no evidence that guns in school are dangerous, true. We should get kids off social media and start teaching them proper use of guns, how to defend themselves, their own self-defense, Bannon said. We should not, should we not make that an integrated part of education so they're not picked on or threatened and certainly not scared? Newsweek reached out to gun control advocacy group Everytown via email for comment. In response to the continuing national trend of gun violence in schools, numerous Republican lawmakers have argued that the answer to mass shooting problems is more guns in school, not stricter gun control laws, as Democrats have argued. These arguments have largely suggested training teachers to use firearms and hiring more security for schools, so less so arming children. Everything I was bullied for in school is related to perceived gender roles. Yeah, I mean, according to Bannon, basically the way you deal with that is just you shoot them. If you want them to shoot each other, why not just let them fist fight? No, you don't get it. The perfect answer to everything is just shooting them. That's it. Don't get me wrong, bullying is horrible. I'm being sarcastic. Yeah, just start giving kids knives, The outcome will be much better. The suggestions have been met with derision by gun control advocates and teachers, with the majority of the latter in Texas saying they do not want firearms training in the wake of the mass shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde that killed 19 students and faculty members because the cops were cowards. What is Firenze? Everyone thought it looked like Jeremy in the Pearl Jam video. In America, if a man's gonna put something in another man, it better be a bullet.
Them the proper use of. We should get kids off social media and start teaching them the proper use of guns, how to defend themselves, their own self-defense. Should we not make that an integrated part of the education so they're not picked on or not threatened and certainly not scared, right? You're right.
Yeah, so essentially, we need to teach them how to use guns so that when they're bullied, they can successfully defend themselves by, shooting them. What? They're shaming you because you don't fit into society, which isn't a bad thing. Wait, what? You're gonna have to rephrase that. Are you saying that bullying is good? Shaming equals bullying. Wait, so you're saying that bullying is good? I don't get it. I'm cooking burgers. Anyone want? No, I'm good. I had my mac and cheese. I'm good. Maybe it's just me, but I want to live in a society where, it doesn't matter what I look like or who I like, or what my preferences are. I want to live in a society where like that doesn't matter and I can just kind of be myself, instead of being bullied for perceived gender roles, perceived looks, you know, like, oh, you're supposed to look like this, you're supposed to do this. Yeah, no, I'm good. I want burgers. See, there you go. You have a taker. I'm good. I had my mac and cheese, you know, like an adult. So I'm good. I love raising my kid without forcing roles on her. It's awesome. Nice. Well, we did it, folks. Folks, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. It really does help us out. I appreciate all your support. Thank you for all the biddies. I appreciate it. Thank you for the subscriptions, follows, all of that. Thank you guys for being for hanging out in chat. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hassler, for keeping the chat chill. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. If you want to support the content, but you cannot do so monetarily, head on over to the YouTube channel. Hit the big red subscribe button. It really does help us out. And also join the Discord if you haven't done so already. Okay? Don't forget, movie night, December 30th, 6 p.m. You have to force rolls, otherwise you end up with all tanks and no heal. I mean, it can be done, alright? It can be done, okay? It can be done. Have a great night. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. It can be done, okay? Ask me how I know. Alright, folks. It's time for me to get out of here. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya. Hang tight, folks. Be well. Thank you, Memo. I appreciate it. Thank you, Justin James. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye. Ground level news. Thank you. See ya.